Thank you for coming out and spending your time this evening to review our project at 615 Briarwood Circle. There is a sign-in sheet up here at the front. If you can make sure you sign in, it's part of a reporting process with regard to these meetings and the site planning process with the City of Ann Arbor. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming out.
So my name is Brad Moore. I have an architectural practice here in town. I think everybody knows that except for maybe these two fine people over here. Part of what my practice does is help people go through the process of getting their project approved in Ann Arbor. So this is one of the first steps in the process, which is the citizens participation meeting, where you'll get to meet the people on the team for this new project, including civil engineers and the owner, operator, developer. Really kind of is everything in one in this case. This process is a lengthy process and open for lots of citizen input. So tonight we have our citizens participation meeting where we will be able to present our initial concept. This is the first concept. It will likely evolve and be tweaked and change a little bit over time. And that can involve incorporating comments that comes from the citizen participation. So we can take your comments, answer your questions. It's the first opportunity for citizen engagement. Once we call all of the information from this meeting, refine our plans, submit it to the city, the city staff will be the next round of review. So the city staff will review the project, and it will go through every staff conceivable, from the bicycle coordinator, the parks department, the fire department, the police department, the engineering department, the solid waste department. They'll all have criticism and comments and want things to be adjusted slightly. And once we go through that iterative process where we get comments from those departments and we change the plans, and then we get more comments and we make more changes, eventually we'll end up with a final proposed plan that will be submitted to the Planning Commission for their feedback and review, and in this case, final approval, because we are not asking City Council to change the zoning. So we're not asking for a policy change, just a site plan. So our final approving body in this case will be the Planning Commission. And as part of that process of giving the approval to the Planning Commission, we think there's probably going to be a requirement to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a slight deviation on one of the setback requirements. The public input process is also open during that staff review. You can also send comments into the city staff, questions, dialogue with the city planning department. And then there'll be a public hearing scheduled at the Planning Commission meeting where you can also ask questions and make comments. So the process has got a lot of opportunity for public input. And this process is something that is months long. It's not going to happen quickly. Nothing in Ann Arbor ever does. So you're probably looking at a good 6 months or longer from this point to get our final approvals. At this point, I'd like to turn over the meeting to the Drury people who will tell you a little bit about themselves and their project, and then we'll get into specific details with the civil engineer.
Thank you, Brad. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Charlie Drury. I'm a Director of Development at Drury Development. We are a family-owned and operated company for over 50 years. We are the development and construction arm of Drury Hotels. Also with us from Drury Development tonight is Mark Cole, our Senior Vice President of Development. He's been with the company for over 20 years. As I said, family-owned and operated, and what you see up here on the slide is a group of our founders. They started as farmers. They lost the family farm coming out of the Depression. They began in construction. They built a hotel for somebody else as their GC, and then they tried one for themselves. That hit, it did well. In 1973, the first Drury Hotel was built in Sikeston, Missouri. And the rest, as they say, is history. Go to the next slide. Today, over 150 hotels in soon to be 27 states as we begin construction in Lincoln, Nebraska. I know that's a rival Big Ten school in these parts, but I think your record against the Huskers is pretty good here lately. So, again, we are as vertically integrated as you might see in our industry. We do our own real estate development. We still GC every job that we do. We own and operate all our hotels. We renovate all our hotels regularly. We even make most of our own furniture that goes in the hotel rooms here in the United States to Southeast Missouri. So we're a little bit different than many of our competitors in the marketplace. We have a long-term outlook. We are looking at 40, 50-year horizons, not building a hotel, trying to stabilize it 3 to 5 years and selling. We believe we'll be the owners for the lifetime of the project and beyond. We only build out of concrete and steel. We use concrete exteriors, ICF, and post-tension decks in our buildings, steel studs in our walls. We don't use any structural wood. So just a little bit about us and our hotels, but really our operating group is part of what sets us apart. If you would go to the next slide, please. It's award-winning. Over 6,100 employees across the family of companies, and they just this year won their 18th J.D. Power Award for highest guest satisfaction in the upper mid-scale segment. We are now considered an upscale brand by Smith Travel Reports, but the team is the secret to the success. We have very low turnover. That's what we're most proud of, but that helps us. We take care of the team members, they take care of the guests, each and every interaction, each and every day, and build not just jobs, but careers with us over a lifetime. Under 40% turnover annually in an industry, including all hourly, in an industry that averages 100% turnover annually. We do that through profit sharing bonusing, above market wages, offering full benefits for those team members that choose to use them. It's not uncommon to go to one of our hotels that has been open, and this was a grand opening in Arlington, Texas last week, and meet a housekeeper who's been with us since the property opened. We also offer open mobility. Every employee is eligible for management and leadership. We have 2 vice presidents of the operating group that started as hourly team members at their hotels over 20 years ago. Go to the next slide, please. So, looking at those J.D. Power scores, this is where we rank amongst many of the brands that you may be familiar with in the upscale and upper mid-scale segments. And then if you go to the next slide, please, Tom. This is where we rank overall, regardless of segment. 5th overall in the entire industry, and those ahead of us are full-service luxury branded hotels. So it's not to say we're building a similar product to a Four Seasons or a Waldorf. It's just to say for the dollars our guests are spending, they're feeling a commensurate level of satisfaction to those customers that may be spending a few more dollars just down the street at one of these other luxury brands. But again, what we're most proud of, if you go to the next slide, is the recognition we get from our team members. And that's being recognized by national publications like Newsweek or Forbes as a top mid-sized employer or a top workplace for diversity. And we really believe in taking care of our team, and that's allowed us to stay in business for over 50 years because then they take care of the customers and the community in a way that it creates not just loyal customers, but customers that advocate for us. They recommend us to friends and family. We don't have a Super Bowl commercial. We don't market nationally, but we do have trusted people telling other people, this is a good place to stay. This is a good place to have your meeting. This is a good place to go on vacation. This is a good place to find when you come to town. And that's why we're still here. And we'd love to be a part of the Ann Arbor community for the next 50 plus years. And we hope to start that process here today. Slide, please. With that, I'll turn it back over to Tom, and we'll talk about the details.
Yep, again, good evening, Tom Covert with Midwestern Consulting, part of the site team. I am here tonight with Candace Breer from our office, who's also part of the site team. Just a little bit of context here. This is an aerial with information you can get from the local county GIS system. You'll notice here our site is highlighted in green. We are on the east side of Briarwood Mall. We're on the west side of State Street. You can see here we're just north of the I-94 interchange, and we're east of in that parking lot to the west of the green, which the west is on the left side here, is the area that you may have heard about, the Heinz Simon mixed-use project recently that's been in the paper and so on. Narrowing the site down a bit, or narrowing down to the side a bit, we have a unique site Brad kind of alluded to a little bit here. We have a site that has frontages on 3 roads. Briarwood Circle, although the road here on the west is Briarwood Circle, the road on the north is also Briarwood Circle, so we call it Briarwood Circle West, Briarwood Circle North, and then State Street. So we have frontages on 3 roads there. South State Street is a designated transit corridor. Our neighbors, just to kind of place you at the site, our neighbors are the Los Tres Amigos Mexican restaurant to the south, and then the gas station there to the south at the corner of Hilton and South State Street. This is a redevelopment of a site that's historically been utilized for by a workout facility, I think Vic Tanny, and then a couple of different owners after that in the past. This image here is of the 2009 master plan element. The city is going through a master planning process here currently, but in 2009 the site was designated in the land use element as South Commercial, which is consistent with the use we're currently proposing of the hotel. The current zoning map you'll see here designates the site as TC1 zoning, and in that classification it's a newer zoning classification that the city had just approved, and this is one of the first areas to recognize and benefit from the TC1 zoning classification. To date at the site, we've done a number of things to get acquainted with the existing infrastructure and features there. We've completed ALTA survey, boundary survey, existing conditions, topographic survey, and data collection. It's important to note that with this at the site, we have a couple of things here. We have a water main that bisects the site here. We have topographic relief from the west side of the site to the east side of the site. That's about 12 feet. So that means State Street is 12 feet lower than Briarwood Circle. So that's an interesting characteristic of the site. And then with this, you'll also notice that as a development, there aren't any stormwater management facilities located on the site as it exists. The stormwater facilities are actually to the north. With this information, the Drury team worked to develop a concept for the site. And Charlie, do you want to talk a little bit about
Absolutely, Tom.
the hotel itself?
So this is our, we make 2 brands today, the Drury Inn and Suites and the Drury Plaza Hotel. What we are proposing here is the Drury Plaza Hotel, which is the higher of our 2 brands. It is a little nicer on finishes and food and beverage offerings on the interior. This would be the view from the north as it faces Briarwood Circle Drive. We're talking 7 stories, 180 rooms, so it would be a high-rise building. Again, ICF exteriors, so it's a full concrete wall all the way up. Activated first floor. The first floor would also include a restaurant, cook-to-order restaurant, bar. It's very sophisticated, fancy name. We call it the Kitchen Plus Bar. But that would be operated by us, interior to the hotel lobby. We also offer our regular amenities in there, breakfast and an evening meal, and alcoholic beverages for guests. Beyond that, it is a unique building. The first of its kind is being built in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but this will be one of the first instances of our newest prototype here in Ann Arbor. So I don't know if we're open to questions now about the building, or we want to hold those till the end, but.
Yeah, I should have started off by saying that this is kind of informal too. If you do have questions while we're going through this, feel free to raise your hand or speak up, and we'll take those questions as we go, or you can wait till the end.
Any questions about the building? Okay.
So with that, we've talked about the building. Now let's talk a little bit about how the building fits and works within the site here. We've chose to set the building on the eastern half of the site. Remember that water main bisects our site, the public water main. And part of the TC1 zoning code requires that we respect the transit corridors and the pedestrian infrastructures that we're adjacent to. So you'll see we moved the building, tucked it in up close to the eastern side there where the transit corridor is. There's sidewalk and pedestrian elements that are along South State Street, then along the site, along Briarwood Circle North, and then there are sidewalks along Briarwood Circle West as well. And then we want to connect to that through the proposed building. The entry does have a drop-off aisle. We have a modest parking field to the west. Our vehicular use area is related to the building square footage. So in the TC1 zoning code, our building square footage sets maximum sizes for our parking field. So in the TC1 district, we have a modest parking field here of 94 spaces. In those 94 spaces, there'll be the opportunity for electric vehicle charging. Within this layout, we have incorporated kind of a linear east-west open space that plays off the parking frontage of the building, in this case. And due to the unique configuration, Brad mentioned the zoning variances that we may need to look at, but due to the frontages, we'll be requesting a variance for parking in the front yard, the frontage of the building to the road frontage, and so we have a building that, as it sits here on the site, its relationship to Briarwood Circle North is just a bit over the required dimension, and that's due to some easements that exist there for public utilities. So we're going to be requesting variance for parking in the front yard, building situation there in that case due to the public utilities. This here is just our site by the numbers. When we turn in a site plan, we develop a site data comparison chart comparing what exists at the site, what's required at the site, and then in this case, what's proposed at the site. So we've been developing this site data chart through the process, through the concepting, and all this to tell you that our goal is to meet or exceed code requirement, site area, floor area, lot coverage, building diagonal dimension, building frontage and height. And again, with the parking spaces, we're showing a bit fewer than 100 in a maybe comparable development, hotel situated somewhere else. You might see, over 100 parking spaces, close to 125. Utilities at the site. This is a pretty simple site as far as utilities go because it is redevelopment. We are replacing the building that's there, redoing the parking lot, but we're connecting to that water main that bisects the site. We're connecting to sanitary sewer that exists already in South State Street. And then we are going to provide underground detention, which is kind of this green-blue area here, under the parking field, which will then connect an outlet to State Street, which has stormwater infrastructure for this outlet. So we'll be treating stormwater quantity in the underground basin, and then we'll be treating stormwater quality through the use of swirl chambers. So the water, as it's collected and worked through catch basins, will be swirled to get the suspended solids out, and then the detention basin that's underground will also have an area for water to settle out sediments. So with that, that's kind of a brief overview of the project as we see it today in concept form before we go into site planning and developing those drawings and details for the city. Our goal here tonight is to get questions from you, get input from you, share thoughts on the project as we move into that site planning phase. So I'm going to keep one of these, I'll keep the layout there open, but any questions with regard to the project? Yeah.
How many rooms total do you have?
180.
180. And
Yes, sir.
how many parking spaces total?
I believe it's 94.
94. So 0.5 spaces per room.
Yes, sir.
Any meeting space in the hotel?
Yes, sir.
How many square feet of meeting space?
Roughly 2,000.
2,000.
square feet.
And then will the entrance be on State Street or is the entrance facing Briarwood Circle?
So that, this corner, right here, and bear with me, I'm short, but up right there,
Yep.
that's where you sort of have that block. There'll be a pedestrian entrance along Briarwood Circle Drive, and then there'll be another entrance interior to the lot underneath the canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vehicular entrance is pretty much going to stay in the same configuration as it is today.
Okay.
I'm not proposing to change that. We would not be permitted a curb cut on State Street.
There will be a door along State Street.
Going. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Any other thoughts, questions, or input?
Any concerns or reasons for your questions, Andrew, on the
No,
codes?
I was just, no concerns at all, just trying,
Okay.
with the new zoning and everything else, just, yeah.
Yes, sir.
figuring it out.
And we've worked hard to be compliant with the new zoning, and so
Yeah, it's,
we've
As you
we've
go,
met
yeah.
that here with all those aspects.
So one of the interesting features too is that the transit, the bus stop, is on Briarwood Circle versus South State. So that's one of the other reasons why this building will have multiple opportunities for people to enter.
The TC1 is currently the only zoning district which has a maximum parking ratio. You can't get more than 3 spaces per 1,000 square feet.
Erica, any thoughts or questions?
You know, I just think it's exciting. I think that with the growth and expansion that Briarwood is going through right now, to add another hospitality piece to the mix will only enhance what's already happening at the center. So thank you for what you're doing. Look forward to the partnership, and I think it looks great. I think the new concept is right on point for what we need in terms of just diversifying the mix of hospitality around the property. So congratulations, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the comments.
I think the mailer that went out had an email address on it, probably.
Yeah.
Tom, so you're probably giving people your contact information. So if you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a victim of delayed intelligence. I always think of the best questions after the meeting. So if that happens, please get in touch with us either.
Please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Henry, Elizabeth, any questions or comments? Either of you?
No, I mean, I realize you guys are in a sweet spot in terms of your question about the parking, because the obvious spillover doesn't impact anyone. I mean, with a project as large as this one, when people start calculating the parking spots versus the capacity, everybody starts speculating where it's going to go. Well, it's sort of obvious where it's going to go, and it's not going to bother anybody. So, yeah.
Where's it gonna go?
Well, I mean, if there was some huge event and it would, the mall is right there. You know, there's still all of this empty area.
I think they're putting 320 apartments there.
Well, but there's, well, I mean, I don't think that Briarwood has yet reached maximum capacity. Do you think? I mean,
And the
I,
apartments have an internal parking deck too.
there's sort of a lot of extra space around there. I mean, I don't imagine it'll be forever, but I mean, for now there is.
I did just think of a question. The Plaza Hotel, that you mentioned Chattanooga, Tennessee. There was one other. So
It's under
new to,
construction
so
right
this
now.
also be a first to market, if you will, for the state of Michigan. There's other Drury hotels, but there'll be this concept, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
This
Yeah, at
particular
this
building
time,
design.
that's great.
There's a Drury
both
Inn
the
and
brand
Suites here.
and the building design would be new to Michigan. We have Grand Rapids, or Cascade Township, and Frankenmuth currently.
One of our founders and or late founders and his wife were huge polka fans, and so they found themselves going to Frankenmuth quite often. And said, why don't we build a hotel here?
Wonderful.
All right, thanks for coming out.
We appreciate everybody coming out. There's plenty of cookies back there.
Yeah, take a
Take a
dozen.
couple for your friends. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. And go blue.